Well, hello! So I'm able to do the video that I really wanted to do this past Sunday, but I released that Kimber 2K11 Pro video. So if you haven't seen that, please go check that out. But today, we're going to look at comparing two very reasonably priced comped guns. So the first one here is going to be the CZ, the P10 comp here. This is the 4-inch barrel version of that. And the Springfield Armory Echelon 4.0C, the 4-inch version of that. So we'll see how they handle. We'll take a look at some slow motion recoil shots and see what that looks like. You know, I'll try to put an angle on this so that y'all can see how, a line of the top of the recoil, so we can kind of compare that and show the degrees on that. I've been waiting to do this. I really wanted to do this and had to wait for one of these guns I had to order. Couldn't find it anywhere at my local gun store. So, looking at this, there's definitely some stark differences here in these guns. So, let's go ahead and just take a look here. We'll look at the front here. First off, these are unloaded. There's no mag in here. They're clear. Okay. All right. So, let's go ahead and look at the front of these. So you can kind of get an idea of the width there and what that looks like. All right, here's the back. Hopefully you guys can see that in the video there. You can take a look at those sights and compare those. I don't know if you can see down both of those or not, but they both kind of have U-notch sights, but the Echelon has like a deeper cut U-cut. It's got some little bit taller sights there, it looks like, in the back at least. In the front, they look about the same, but the rears are definitely a little bit taller on the Echelon. These are both optics ready plates here, so you can kind of see the top there. All right, let's see what else. The bottom here, compare the thickness of the grips. You can kind of see that. You can see on the Echelon, it's got some stippling here on the bottom. It also has of the guard here. It also has stippling on the front of the guard as well. So there's nothing on the bottom of this P10 here, but there is some little ribs here across here, some horizontal ribs there on this one. Let's see the back, or actually, I guess, to really compare the grip angles here, let me see if I can get a good look for you here. These grip angles, they're definitely different. So comparing them, let's see. It's a little bit difficult to show you the kind of the grip angles there, but when I set these down, it looks like the CZ, the grip angle is a little more forward on this one. And on the Echelon, it's a little bit farther back, and it kind of has that little palm swell here. I'll show you. So you get this little palm swell back here that kind of sticks out. So they're very similar in size here. The P10 is, I guess, right across the top. It's just a hair taller. So if you're concealed carrying this, that handle on that one's a little bit taller, or just a tad taller on the grip itself, but you've got this piece here that sticks up on the magwell here. So it's kind of almost like it makes it almost closer to a full-size grip there. And for concealed carry on a smaller gun, usually you want a smaller grip, but some guys, big hands, they want to have the full-size grip and the shorter barrel. So on the Echelon here, it's flat, so you can see it's straight across. Now the Echelon also has these, changeable grips here. So you can have this swell come out farther or come in a little closer to your hand to make that grip even smaller. So on the sides of these guns, we'll start with the P10C here first. So it's got it's like this horizontal kind of, grip or cuts here on the frame, or on the slide, I'm sorry. And you can kind of see them on the sides as well. So they're kind of shallow. They're not quite as deep as on the Echelon, but they're functional. But I will say that, racking it back, my hand, it can slip on there. So if I'm doing this, just a hard grip, it can slip. You really gotta get on it hard on this P10. Now on the Echelon, this one has some really deep and some wide cuts here on the slide. So it's a little bit easier when you're racking this thing back. I mean, my hand's not slipping on this. I'm like holding it the same strength as I'm holding the other one. It's not slipping. So that's a difference there on the slides themselves. And that those slide cuts are on both the front and back. So you get that same deep cut here on the Echelon and a little shallower cut here on the P10. Does that mean they're not functional? No, of course not. They're functional. They work just fine, especially when you're pulling from the rear here. It's just fine. So the front here, when you're looking at the ports, the porting on this, so you've got two very different ports here. So the port on this is the CZP10 port. You can see it doesn't extend past the side of the frame here. It's just cut out here on top. So it's going to be interesting to shoot these against each other and see what the recoil is like and kind of how this gun handles. Also, the CZ here has a crown barrel there. You can see that how it's recessed in there. So that's pretty awesome. That looks good. All right, on the Springfield Echelon, it's just a standard barrel. There's not really there's like a small tiny crown in there. It's not much. But other than that, it looks, like a standard barrel. No big recess in the crowning there. Hopefully y'all can see that well. All right, as far as the frames go, there is also on the CZP10, of course, both of them, of course, have the lights, but this one has the Picatinny rail. On the Springfield Echelon, you've got the standard Picatinny rail here. And then you've got that little like Glock style on the CZP10 for your little light mount or whatever, right? So on the Echelon here, the frame is interesting because it has like a swell here on the sides. So it swells out on both sides just a little bit, which kind of gives you, a little shelf for your thumb. So you put your thumb down in there, you got a little shelf. And that's on both sides. So there's another one here as well on the Echelon. So you have these two that are ambidextrous on both sides, and you got an extra one right here. So on this side, though, that's the slide stop, which that's what sticks out, is that slide stop. It's got that stippling on there. And then you can see on this side, it's just recessed there for the other side of the slide stop there. The stippling on this, like I said earlier, the trigger guard has stippling on the front. It has, whoa, look at that. Throwing these things around. We're going to test its durability today. On the bottom here, you've also got stippling as well. This thing is like stippled everywhere. So it's stippled all around the grip. It's a complete full stippling job all around the grip. And then you have some stippling up here as well. So this thing, it sticks to your hand pretty good when you're holding it. Feels really good. The stippling on this though is not really super aggressive. So again, it'll be interesting to shoot this thing because since it's not so aggressive and it's not as hot out here today, so it's only gonna be about 80 degrees down here today in East Texas. So the sipling here, I don't know if my hands were wet, sweaty, whatever. I don't know how that would do because it looks pretty aggressive, or real sticky, but it's not as far as like overly sticky. I would say like the Shield X, that M&P Shield X had really, really good stippling on here that really stuck to your hand well. So for just a regular shooter concealed carry, that one was great. But shooting 300 rounds through it in a row, it starts to tear on your hands a little bit. And as some of the commenters noted, I have my soft hands. But anyway, so on the Echelon here, you can see where the mag release here sticks out. So this is ambidextrous as well. So on this gun here, you get ambidextrous mag release, ambidextrous slide stops here, the slide release and slide stop. So you got it on this side, you get it on this side. And also on the Echelon here, it's kind of interesting. Uh, on the Echelon, the slide lock here, it's like flat on top. It is still kind of hard to lock push or to actually release it though. So if you look here, it's I mean it's locked in now, and you just push down. It actually doesn't like roll over the side of the grip here. It's just a flat shelf that you pull down on. But it's pretty stiff. I'm sure that'll break in over time a little bit. But that's kind of the first time I've seen it, anyways, where there's a little flat shelf as opposed to, you know, like a side deal here, like the CZ has, where it comes out and it's either comes straight out and then is you know or like L shaped down like a Glock. This one doesn't have that though. This one's literally just on the sides, so it doesn't come out and then go down. It actually just sticks out on the side, and it's kind of angled upward a little bit. So on this one. So to drop it down, you just hitting this. What it does create though is it creates something like the Echelon here, where it's flat on top. It's got a little when it's locked back, it gives you a small flat spot there on top to drop it. Although it's pretty tight, but that's pretty good. It's good. All right. So on the Echelon here, looking at the comp here. These are both also, before I get into that, just to show you again here, they're both comped and ported. So you've got the comp is built into the slide, and so is the porting on the barrel at the same spot. So sometimes guns are ported and comped in the slide. Sometimes there's a comp added to it, whatever. And there's also porting as well. But in these, it's ported and comped both. So on the Echelon, you can see here that this porting and the barrel cut as well, or I'm sorry, the comp here and the barrel cut and the port is both off the side of the frame. So it's a definitely a larger area. So I don't know how that's gonna, you know, work out here when I shoot it. As far as the recoil goes, it seems like, you know, physics wise, it seems like with the CZ, with that smaller kind of port coming out of there and comp, seems like there would be less area, and so you'd have an effect of more velocity coming out of the top of that than you would on this. But the slide cuts, well, let's see what the slide cuts look like. The barrel cut is also smaller on the CZ than it is on the Echelon 4.0 here. So that will be interesting too to compare. So I think it's going to be very interesting. And they are about the same width. They're really, really close in width here. So let's see. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully you can here. But coming back here, you can see that the CZ is just a little bit longer, probably 1/8 of an inch longer or so than the Echelon as well. All right, so I think that kind of covers that portion. Now, as far as the triggers go on these, so the triggers on these are a little bit different. So as far as the you know, the safety goes on these, they're the same. I mean, they got the little Glock style, you know, safety deal there. The travel is a little bit farther on the travel up to the wall is a little bit farther on the CZ than it is on the Echelon. Now, I will say the trigger is a little smoother on the Echelon when you're coming back to the wall than it is on the CZ. You kind of feel a little bit of resistance there in the end where it's kind of rubbing a little, but still not any issues. So if you're considering getting this one, nothing to worry about there. Definitely not as bad as that shield trigger was. That thing was terrible. So all my M&P fans there are gonna yell at me now because I said that, but it's true. And this is a lot better. So very decent. Now, as far as the pull through when you hit the wall, here's the Echelon. So the Echelon is about, it feels like it's about 4 pounds, maybe 4.5 pounds. It's pretty decent. Yeah, probably 4.5 to 5 pounds. But real soft. And the way this thing shoots, or the way that the trigger drops here, it really feels a lot like the M18. I have an M18 SIG, 320. Don't beat me up in the comments for owning a 320. But anyway, I collected that as a military pistol. But the way that the trigger drops when you come into the wall and just drop it down here, it feels a lot like that and sounds even like the 320. And which is not terribly a surprise. If you know much about the Springfield Armory version here, this actually has an FCU in it. So you can replace things. The actual firearm is the FCU, like on one of the SIGs. And they're not the only manufacturer doing that as well. I know there's others out there that have an FCU in the gun. Of course, I don't think there's many parts out there for this though, as far as that goes. Like replacing out a grip or whatever. So on this Echelon, but just of note, it is like that. So that trigger is very much so like that. Now, as far as the CZ goes, this P10 trigger comes back, and then when you're squeezing it, it's a little harder. I mean, it's a good 6 pounds or so, probably is what it feels like here to me. So definitely a harder trigger. Now, this one has like the Glock feel to it as far as the trigger goes. When you pull it back and you hit the wall, and it's got like a hard, solid snap back. And then, of course, it stays back here once you pull that trigger. But like the Echelon here, when you pull the trigger, and then you let go and the trigger returns. On the CZ, when you pull the trigger on it, it just stays back. So a little bit different as far as how they operate there. The stippling on this CZ P10, it's a totally different kind of stippling. It doesn't have like this, real close sandpapery type, even though this one's not very sticky like sandpaper. It's got these a much larger, set of little bumps on there that protrude out from the pistol grip here. It's also worth noting here too that on this back strap here on the CZ, it also can be changed out as well. Both guns come with some extra parts, and I'll cover that stuff when I actually do a review of the gun. But this stippling here, even though it doesn't, I was kind of wondering about this when I was looking at it online. It just looks like it wouldn't handle very well. It wouldn't be very sticky. It just kind of looked, kind of plasticky and not and wide. But I'll tell you what, well, it's not, I don't know, it's not really stippling on this. I mean, it's actual just texture, right? It's grip texture on this gun. But this grip texture is actually really sticky. I mean, it really does grab into you, especially here on the back, and on the front. It's really gives you a really good grip. Like I wouldn't worry about that if I was out here during the day, like I have been this summer for y'all, shooting these guns like crazy, man. I'll tell you what, sweating so bad, humid, lenses fogging up on my glasses. I'm like, my God, I want the day to end, and I love shooting. But anyway, I wouldn't worry about the CZ P10 in my hand as far as the stickiness of this gun. But they're both very functional. They're not. I don't have any issues with them at all. They're both really nice. They both seem like they're decent quality. I mean, not really much wiggle in here in either one of these, especially in the Springfield. It's I hate to say this, but it's tighter than my Kimber Pro, that Kimber 2K11 Pro. I can wiggle the slide just a tiny bit on it. This one is, on this Springfield Armory, it's tight. There is barely any movement whatsoever there. Picking up on the back, same thing, just barely any movement there. On the front, moving this thing laterally, just a tiny, tiny bit of movement, but almost every gun that you get is going to have that kind of movement. So don't think that's anything crazy. Usually, you're pulling up on the back or you're checking the slide to see kind of how it fits to the frame. And I'll tell you what, I'm pretty impressed with this Springfield as far as that goes. That slide is nice. The grip on the Springfield here, when it's in your hand, it kind of has this little palm swell here that pushes in there, but it doesn't you know, when your hand's up under this little kind of, I call it a beaver tail, guys. I know it's not a beaver tail, but whatever it is, right? This little, but for practical functions, I'm going to call it a beaver tail. So all you beaver tail lovers, don't get mad at me. But this fits over your hand okay, you know, and it fits in your hand good. I mean, I like the way it feels in my hand. It does fit pretty good. This CZP-10, you can see that this hooks around and really gets up over your hand. So I really like that, how that is. And when it's in your hand, you can really feel it pushing back here on the back of your webbing of your hand. So I think, you know, that kind of thing, that really helps in recoil when you're doing that. You know what I mean? It really feels like it's just fit for your hand really well. And I really like that. I was wondering what that was behind me there. It looked like a bird came in or something. As you can see, I'm out at the office today. So I don't know. They're both very similar, guys. There are some definite differences here. Oh, speaking of the slide here on this one, so on the CZP-10, there is a little more movement on this one. So I don't know if you can kind of hear it, but there's a little more movement in the slide. Again, absolutely nothing to be concerned about with this striker fired gun. It's still really tight. It's still really good. Nothing to be concerned about. The up and down movement, maybe just a little bit more than the Springfield Armory, than this Echelon. But again, absolutely nothing to be worried about. It's fit well. I mean, don't let that take away from you on quality here. It feels like good quality for a striker fired gun here. It's pretty nice. And the slide's really awesome too, honestly. And it's also got the, you know, this on top here, these little horizontal or vertical cuts, I guess, however you look at it. But in this Springfield Armory is a little more flat on top. So, but regardless, these cuts go up into the top of the barrel on the front and the back. So pretty nice there. Of course, both of them are both of them have external extractors as well. One's got a super long external extractor here. The CZ's got a really long external extractor, and the Springfield Armory has a little bit shorter one here. All right, guys. So just my thoughts here as you're watching some shooting going on. My thoughts on these guns here. I really like both of them. They're very different as far as the feel in your hand, but I do like them both. They're both pleasing in the hand. I don't think you can go wrong with it, either one. I think they're both nice. I think they both look like they're very decent quality. So not bad there. There is one thing I did forget to mention here, and I want to cut back in here and show you that on the back of the Springfield, it's kind of like, reminds me of like the HK, where it's got the little like cutout here on the back of the frame. I'm sorry, on the slide. So when you're pulling this thing, you could literally pull it from the back because it has this little cut in to the slide, and that does protrude a little bit on the sides. So this does protrude a little bit from the width of the rest of the frame. But if you're pulling this thing back, you can just grab it here and pull it back. I don't know if that's absolutely necessary. The stippling's pretty good, but when you have an optic on, I don't know. That seems like a pretty nice thing to have when you got the optic on, if you're not, racking from the front. You should rack from the front too. Instead of pulling up on it and putting lateral stress on that thing, it is better to rack from the front, and that's my opinion. There's probably 20 other people out there that'll say something different, but for me, I think that's the best way to do it. But they did make this very, very friendly for having an optic on there and not having to reach over the optic or whatever. But either way, it doesn't matter, guys. It's just a nice thing, I think. I think it's cool. And the CZ P10 does not have that. It is just, straight, same size all the way down this thing. But anyway, just back to overall thoughts here, without shooting this thing yet, they both look really, really nice. Oh shoot, I forgot another thing, man. I'll tell you what. So I'm going to go ahead and cut back in here and show y'all this uh, the plates here. So these are both, like I said earlier, they're optics ready, right? Except at the Springfield Armory, this one comes with a bunch of screws in the bag. Again, I'll go over that when I do the full review for you. And that'll probably come out either next week or the week after on Sunday, because one Sunday I'll do one gun, one Sunday I'm going to do the other one. But that is awesome. I wish more companies would do something like that, or they would just standardize optics, an optic cuts on the back of a slide. That would be awesome. But everybody's got to have their own, of course. Now, of course, there's a good thing with that too. If they had one standard and it sucked, somebody would come up with a better way to get that on there. But it's just awesome that on the Springfield Armory, you can buy this. You buy your optic, you throw it on there, and you don't have to, buy a plate for it. You can just use the different sets of screws. And at first glance, it looked like they're all labeled. All the screws are labeled for the different type of optic that you get, or red dot, so that you just slap that thing on and screw it down into the frame or into the slide. That's awesome. I think to me, that is a great, great feature. I think they really did a good job on this Echelon. Just the little shelf on there for like a little gas pedal type shelf on the side of the frame. The little extensions on the back here off the frame that is just another nice touch. The stippling could probably be a little bit more aggressive, but I think it's absolutely functional. Love the back strap, so you can change that out. I'm actually kind of impressed with the functionality, and it also is fully ambidextrous. So the Springfield Armory has the mag release on both sides of the pistol grip, which is really nice. I shoot left-handed, and like I said in another video, my 2K11 Pro video, I can shoot left or right-handed. I shot right-handed for many, many years. I was in the military and for many years, and when I was in basic, I was shooting left-handed, and then I had an M16A1, and we had to put these little adapter devices on time. And for a lefty, if you didn't have that adapter, deal on there, it'd burn the shell casings would come out and burn your face. In fact, I have a couple scars on the side of my face to this day where my gun malfunctioned. I had to pick up my buddy's rifle to continue with qualification, who was a right-handed person. And I was shooting brass, and brass was coming back in my face, and a couple rounds stuck in my chin strap of my helmet and burned my face. But I just wanted to keep firing and do good. I was really mad because I was going to qualify as well, because I lost a shot or two because I was changing out rifles and all that business. But that was the deal. You just picked up your buddies and continued on. So anyway, I really like when guns are fully ambidextrous, especially on striker fired. This isn't a 1911 frame. There's no reason they can't, make these fully ambidextrous. I say fully ambidextrous, but the slide, lock here, or, slide, take the slide off here. That's not ambidextrous on this, on the Springfield Armory Echelon here. But everything else is. Your slide release is ambidextrous. Your mag release is ambidextrous. The little shelf on the side, that's kind of like a little gas pedal type shelf. Put your thumb. That's ambidextrous. So very good there. And they've even got stippling on the front of the guide rod. I'm not sure why, but oh well. The CZP-10, its strength is its ergonomics. The ergonomics on this thing are really awesome. I love the ergonomics on this. The trigger's a little bit tough, but mini striker fired guns are, so that's nothing out of the ordinary there. I do like the cuts on the slide that they have all the way around. That's pretty nice, to be able to rack that thing in from anywhere. Oh. Well, so I thought I was done and was about to head back to go reload, and this happened again. That's the second one now. So I don't know what's going on with the old CZ here, but that ain't good. So you can kind of look at this round. I don't know if you can see that, if it's focusing up that close or not, but see how it just destroyed the nose of that round? And that, it's not, it like came back on itself. So it's kind of weird. That was the actual casing. It just, so the casing didn't eject, but it came forward it came forward. All right, y'all, well, my camera cut off on me, so while I was talking about this CZ. So I'm not sure where it stopped at. We'll figure that out in editing. But I'm very disappointed in this. You know, those rounds doing that, it's a very distinct problem. It, you know, it's not totally ejecting the shell. A new casing's being cycled in, and it's tearing up the nose of the shell. I'm using 115 Cellier and Ballot, or Ballot Cellier, however you pronounce it, and the 115 grain laser brass. So I don't think it's the ammo on this one, not the way it's doing this. So and all that cycled fine, excuse me, out of the Springfield Armory. So I don't know what's going on with this. It's very disappointing though, very disappointing. And then also there was some wear inside the port here where it looks like it might be damaging the barrel a little bit on that port. I don't know for sure. I'll dig into it and see when I clean it, see if it actually left scarring on the barrel, but it looks like it's scarred. So we'll figure that out too. But I'm a little surprised by this. I'm very surprised by this. So, all right, well, done with this. All right, so to close this out, we've got the Springfield Armory Echelon 4.0 comp winner, the CZ P10C loser. At least today it is. I like CZs, so I'm very disappointed. But we did have 4 malfunctions in this. They were very specific malfunctions. The, you know, I don't know. I don't think it's the ammo in this. I think it's the gun. So that's not good. I'll contact CZ, find out what's up with that if it's a known issue. They both handle pretty well. They're both accurate, very accurate. They're not quite as snappy as like a Glock or another gun that's without a comp, but the comp did make it shoot better. It felt better, but I also noticed myself trying to push forward and down a little because I'm trying to correct it, but man, they drop right into place. The Springfield and the slow-mo, it was dropping like spot on. I think this might have been too. I don't know. We'll check the slow-mo on that. But they both shoot very well. I mean, minus the problems with the CZ. They both shot well. They both handle well. You know, similar size. The CZ gets a bonus point for being able to smack the mag when you reload, and it drops the frame. I call it the Glock slap when it drops that. But I couldn't do that with the Springfield, at least not yet. Maybe until it breaks in a little more. So my thoughts are on it, guys. This could be a one-off with the CZ. I don't know. If it's going to have failures like this, and the other guns do, that's an issue. All right, guys, my honest opinion between the two. You know, like I said, they're both good, they both handle pretty well, etc., but my honest opinion on this, and I know it's going to make the CZ fans mad, but I probably would choose the Echelon 4.0C over the CZ P10C. To me, the clear winner here is the Echelon comp. The loser is the CZ P10. But we'll find out from CZ what's going on. Appreciate it. So with that, you know, as usual, you know, if you like these videos, you like seeing these kind of comparisons to get, you know, kind of an in-depth look of comparing these guns, shooting the guns, you know, talking about how they feel. You know, please like and subscribe and share. Helps my channel out a lot. I really do appreciate it. Definitely appreciate the subscriptions. Helps me keep shooting too. You know, if I can ever get monetized here, that'd really help out. I go through a lot of rounds testing these pistols, and it'd be nice to kind of help out just paying for ammo and stuff. If I can ever get monetized. So definitely appreciate your subscriptions. Appreciate it a lot. I do have a Patreon account set up. That's in the links on my channel here if you feel like donating. If you don't, no problem. Like I said, the subscriptions are are awesome. I appreciate that very much. So, also, guys, these guns were not sent to me. I bought both of these. I buy all my guns with my own money. So I'm not behest to any company to say their stuff is good or bad. I just give you my honest opinion about how I feel about it. And I hope that matters, that you guys can get an honest review. So, I hope that y'all tune in again. And we will see y'all next Sunday for another one. And we will go into a full review of one of these two. And then the next Sunday, I'll do a review of the other one. But I really do appreciate y'all watching. And we'll see you next time. Stay frosty.